I wasn't a soccer fan, so I didn't know who he was. But when I saw the video, I was like, that one's kind of cute.
Shakira is one of the biggest Colombian singers to date, but sadly, after 12 years together, her and her husband Gerard Pique separated. They have 2 children together, and while initial reports seem to suggest that the breakup was mutual, that absolutely doesn't seem to be the case now. In fact, people are slamming Gerard online for seemingly cheating on Shakira with a 20-year-old blonde. Although they were hit with rumors of the two splitting all the way back in 2017, with people saying they were no longer living together, we finally have confirmation and a possible reason why. Today we're covering Shakira. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episodes of Where Are They Now. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that like video so we know you enjoy it. We can keep making more videos just like this. Now let's get into it. Shakira was born in the capital city of Colombia to a Lebanese father and a Colombian mother. A very smart girl, it's reported that Shakira has an IQ of 140 and that is very clearly reflected in her amazing grades. She wasn't initially interested in songwriting. In fact, it only came about when she watched her dad write poems on a typewriter. After begging him for one for herself, she also began writing poems as early as 7 years old. She would write poems about her father while he was mourning the death of Shakira's half-sibling who died in a motorcycle accident. Eventually, over time, these poems turned into song lyrics. Shakira also started to gain interest in performing, and when she first heard someone playing a traditional Middle Eastern drum and a performer belly dance to the drum beat, she was hooked. Eventually, Shakira had taught herself to dance, and she started to gain local recognition as a top-notch dancer and singer. She was invited to events to perform, and at one of the events, she met a local theater producer who was so impressed with Shakira's performance that she got into contact with Sony Colombia executives to arrange for an audition. She performed 3 songs for the executives in the lobby of a hotel and must have impressed them because she signed with the record label to record 3 albums when she was only 13 years old. When she recorded for Sony Colombia, her first 2 albums were commercial failures. They were going to release her from her contract to produce a 3rd one, and in fact, she even periodically went on hiatus to finish high school. She did a one-off single for a compilation album, and that single, for some random reason, became an instant hit in Colombia. Due to its success, Sony decided to give Shakira another chance and financed her 3rd album. The 3rd album did much better, and she even reached number 5 in the Billboard Top Latin Albums chart. She did even better on her 4th album and secured a spot performing a single for her album on MTV Unplugged, where she started to gain traction with English-speaking audiences. Her next album, as a result of the newfound American traction, was going to be in full English. She had to learn the language first though, and because of that, it took almost a year for the album to be released. On the album is the song Whenever Whenever, which released international success and number 1 in most countries around the world. Imagine that, most countries in the world had this song as their number 1 hit. By 2008, she was the 4th top earning female artist in the music industry entirely. In 2006, a 6-ton, 5-meter tall statue of the singer was erected in her hometown in Colombia in honor of the singer, who is credited for bringing Latin-influenced music to the main stage. She is also one of the highest paid female artists on Spotify according to their general statistics. She's also been credited with injecting Middle Eastern influence into her music style, which allows her to transcend the borders created in pop culture. She's considered one of the greatest artists across cultural boundaries, and her being chosen to perform the track Waka Waka, which was used during the FIFA 2010 World Cup, was largely influenced by the traditional Cameroonian singers of the time. So now she has been directly influenced not only by her native Latin musical styles, but also by American, with her decision to sing in English, Middle Eastern, especially with the belly dancing, and African influences, which all blend seamlessly to create a one-of-a-kind performance that just seems to work for Shakira. By 2010, she was the 10th highest paid woman in music, and in 2020, it was announced that she would perform at the Super Bowl halftime show with Jennifer Lopez. The show itself went off without a hit. The choreography and stage effects were on point. In fact, the viewership was at 103 million people, and their performance was nominated for 5 Primetime Emmys and winning one of them. But it wasn't really the performance itself that caused a scandal. Before Lopez and Shakira were even set to take the stage, the event organizers had approached Cardi B and Rihanna about performing. They both turned down the opportunity, citing solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. Now, if you don't know about Colin Kaepernick, basically the footballer kneeled during the singing of the national anthem in protest of the mistreatment of black people in America and in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. After he did that, the NFL banned kneeling as a form of protest and effectively blacklisted Kaepernick from the league. He has not played in the league since. And in 2020, the year Shakira performed, the NFL finally apologized 4 years after it happened, but the damage had already been done and it was entirely too little too late. When Rihanna was asked why she backed down, she stated, quote, "I couldn't dare do that. For what? Who gains from that? Not my people. I just couldn't be a sellout. I couldn't be an enabler. There's things within the NFL that I do not agree with at all, and I was not about to go and be of service to them in any way." But Shakira stood her ground amid criticism from advocates. She called the performance, quote, "the highlight of my career," and felt proud to headline with another Latina, the first time in Super Bowl history that 2 Latinas have headlined. How Shakira sees it, she wanted to promote the importance of Latin communities as a cultural backbone of America. Quote, "I really thought it was a great opportunity to make a strong statement about what an important part of the American fabric the Latino community is." And thus, the halftime show went ahead as planned, despite outcry from groups who felt that the 2 women weren't properly supporting the Black community and Afro-Latino community in their support for equal treatment. Despite being considered hypersexual, the performance was generally received positively by news organizations. Even if it wasn't entirely a memorable one, it did enough to keep the high-octane energy amongst the crowd. Their performance is the most watched halftime show on YouTube, and it's the most popular female-run performance in the event's history. Even with the controversy of it being overly promiscuous, and amid the Black Lives Matter movement protests, the performers did well, and it had a relatively positive reception. In 2011, Shakira entered into a relationship with a Spanish football player named Gerard Pique, the center back for FC Barcelona and the Spanish national team. They met a year prior on the site of Shakira's music video for her song Waka Waka. 2 years later, the singer gave birth to the couple's first son named Milan in Barcelona. She had her second son, Sasha, 2 years later. They seemed basically unshakable. Forbes even named them in their list of the world's most powerful couples. But this past Saturday, the singer confirmed that she is no longer in a relationship with the footballer. There were starting to bleed in rumors of the couple being estranged as early as 2017. With some saying that they didn't even live together anymore, although nothing was ever confirmed, and it's not entirely unusual for celebrity couples to be apart a lot due to their busy schedules. Their statement of separation was short and sweet, with them just asking for privacy. It did seem, however, that the 2 are doing really well at raising their kids together despite being separated. Just a few days ago, the estranged couple spent time together in the Czech Republic as they cheered on their eldest son at his baseball tournament. In new images shared to Twitter, Shakira and Gerard are both seen at the event alongside their youngest boy Sasha, though they are not pictured together. But very recently, there have been rumors that it was Gerard's party lifestyle that broke the couple up. According to sources, Pique had been living the bachelor lifestyle and regularly spending nights out with his teammates. And some have claimed that he may have cheated on Shakira with an unnamed 20-year-old blonde. But I personally call crap on that. If the 2 had been separated as far back as 2017, that's hardly cheating unless there was an agreement not to see other people during their separation. If they've been apart since 2017, you can't expect someone to just stall their life like that for 5 years. And sources close to the professional sportster have vehemently denied any allegations of cheating, with some saying that they were in an open relationship for quite some time. A Spanish journalist was told, quote, "Someone very, very close to Pique has assured me that there was no infidelity on his part. Their agreement was a you do what you want and I'll do what I want, but to present themselves as a couple to the public." So, what do you think about the separation? Let us know in the comments down below. While you're down there, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can stay updated when we post our next videos. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Where Are They Now? I've been your host Sierra, and see you next time.